Hi, my name is Groovy. I'm the founder of Figaf, and in this video I'll show you how you can take your Groovy development to the next level about having some good tools that enables you to develop in SAP Cloud Integration or Integration Suite. So I will not teach you to be a good Groovy developer. I'm far from it. I do have some techniques and concepts that will make it a lot easier for you to develop. And this is what this is about. So what we have is in our Figaf tool, we have a number of ways that allow you to actually run and evaluate how Groovy works on your SAP system. And it will allow you to run in Cloud Integration. It allows you to run and test these inputs. Data will be run on your instance of Cloud Integration. And then you can use all of the APIs and value mappings. That's a part of this result. And then you can compare the result, and after you have made any changes, you can upload this artifact. So before you get started, you need to get an instance of Figaf to work with this. You can either sign up for a free trial, run it locally on your laptop, or our recommended approach is B2B for B2B Cloud Foundry, where it's really easy to get started and share the Figaf tool with your team, because it is a lot easier if everybody has access to the same data and same test cases. Then once you have installed it, or get a user account if it's the cloud version, and you can sign up for free on the Figaf website. Then you connect it to Cloud Integration. You synchronize all of the content or just the packages that you want. And once you've done that, you go into the agent and you enable IDE to run and upload scripts. Good. One of the things that I often talk about is I want to have a test-driven approach. I want to be able to create test cases and run them all the time. The alternative approach is all developers will have their own approaches for handling some of the different scenarios. And then, the idea is that you would always have test cases. So no matter if you're the one improving it or the next developer will look at your code and do review, you would always have test cases, making it easy to debug and figure out what is going on. How do we change these iflows? And obviously ChatGTP and Bard and whatever platform is really useful for this. But they are tools to generate code, not to allow you to run and manage the code. And this is where the Figaf tool comes in as a place between this and your CPI system. And do not send customer data to ChatGPT or the services. I think that there is a lot of challenges with this. You can use obfuscated and mask content. The Figaf tool does have some abilities to do that. But obviously you need to check with your management about what is applicable for these scenarios. Let's just get started. Okay, so let's say we start out with a new iflow. We need to create a new iflow, and this is called here new iflow development, new Groovy user. We have some user management data that we want to look at. So it's here, we cancel and we open this iflow. So the first thing we want to do is we want to obviously send some data to this. We will use the HTTP, the endpoint, root. We just have to see if it's protected. That's okay. I normally prefer to have a header, at least when I'm developing, just to make sure that I fetch all of the different versions of the content that is available. So obviously you can remove this. This does not really add a lot of value. Okay, so now we have a flow that we can run, but we need to add a Groovy script. So we'll add a Groovy script here that says here Groovy go and we need to create a new script here. And obviously it just have a blank script that would allow us to run this. So let's just say okay. So the idea of first one is just to have a baseline that I can use for my development. So let's say here, create a new version. We will deploy it. And what we'll then need to do is we will synchronize this to the Figaf tool. So this allows, in CPI Helper, you can set up the Figaf tool as a service. And this would allow you to, so in here on CPI Helper under the plugins, you have an option here to put in the Figaf URL, and this will enable you to synchronize it. And when you have the data in Figaf, things becomes a lot easier. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create a test case for this. And we'll just search by the latest update, and I will say create test case. Groovy user. So we'll add them to our test suite. So obviously that's a whole new level that you need to consider what should be done there. We will then add some in and output messages for this. So we need an input and an output, and they need to have the same grouping number. You can obviously create multiple. And then I have an Java file or XML file. Demo. And here we have the users file. And we'll use the same one also for output. We need to have an input and an output for this to work, and we remove the finish and run step. We want to have all of the different content here. Then we create a test case, and we say we want it as a license object. And now we have a test case. And that means we can go here and we can take a run. And when we run it, we will send it into the CPI system, and we can see it's already been processed here. And if we go back here and look at the Figaf tool, we can see we are receiving some data back. One of them here is giving an error, which is, well, there's a lot of different headers that we are setting, but they are not really used. So let's just say that's okay. The idea is that we will go and say, okay, now we have our baseline. This is the input and output. And we will then say, okay, here, let's create this drop all test cases. And now this is what we would expect this to produce. So we can now run this again, and it will be green if everything is okay. So now we have a green test case. This means that if we go back to the Figaf tool in our tracked objects and look at our Groovy script here, we can, so in the Figaf tool you have your iFlow, and under the iFlow you do have the different artifacts that's a part of it. Here you have script and XSLT collections. If you select the script, you can go in here, open the IDE. If you have gone into the agent and enabled this, we will select the test case. You need to select out here, and then we need to select the messages that you want to be using for this. So with this, we now have a test case that we can run, and we can see, is it producing the correct result? That is okay. So if we just change the input here, compare, oh, we need to run, and compare, we can see we're getting a difference. So it's easy to see if we are making changes to the content or not. Okay, this is not really a good example. We need to create something more relevant. So let's take our input document here, go to ChatGTP. Integration. XML. You can use Shift Enter to insert multiple lines. Shift the output in JSON and the elements. full name, and so let's see here if it can produce that. So obviously you know that it is not giving or producing all the right result at all the time, but it is a good way to get started. So right now we can see it is not implementing this in a CPI message body, or a full CPI Groovy function, but it is giving us some of these things. Sometimes it has been giving me correct data, but let's just say, okay, we get the message log, we get this, and then we go down here. So you can obviously also just copy up here, you go here. So we need this JSON builder import statement up here. And we drop all of this nonsense. We get a message, we don't need that one. And then it says here message set body JSON to string. Let's try to run that. We do get some problems here. Def body, that is definitely not correct as string. So I think we can do it like this. We already have it up here. So now we are getting this, but we only get length of transmits, or well, yeah, for each user. It, I guess, only fetches the first user, and not each of the different users. So obviously, yeah, you need to consider what this is producing and if it is giving you the correct result. So we do get James Smith, but we do not get the real user. So obviously you need to modify the prompt. So it thinks that it's giving you this one. Blah blah blah. So yeah, you need to take it with a grain of salt. So let's see here if it's better now. It has at least some kind of collection here, so let's just copy here. Constructed JSON, set to string. So now we are getting both, and we are getting the length of these two elements. And if we add a new one here, we did get that one, and let's just also JSON. So yeah, obviously this is not an ideal way of working. You would have some input. You can also give it the input on what you would expect for this. So obviously it is something that you need to work with this. So I guess it is just about adding this to the process. So let's try that. It is under users in the bracket there. So now we got number of users, 3 user entry, ta-da. So with this, we have in a few minutes created an element. We have run, we have tested, we have evaluated that this is actually producing the correct result. So we will run. Our comparison is still towards the old XML, so that would not really work. So we will say upload, synchronize and navigate. So right now we are uploading the new XSLT, and that means that if I go here, I need to refresh. Open my Groovy script here. So here we can see our script. So here we can see the updated script that we have added, and just by using the update. So I will need to deploy it, and I think we also would need to inform, well, Figaf already know there's a new version of this because it's synchronized after we have uploaded. So let's go back to our test case that we created here. We can go here, we can run it. And now it will produce a faulty result because we have made modifications to the expected output. So it says here not compared, and this is because it is two different payloads. So it was expecting a JSON, but we got a JSON instead. So we'll just update, drop all test cases, and now we can run it again. And now everything's success. So really easy to just create new content and make sure that you have always test cases that you can run. You can go in here and you can, in the trace mode, see, so how is this actually working? Where are we in the flow? What's going on? And with this collaboration, it just becomes a lot easier. Okay, so obviously, yeah, ChatGTP, good. We do have the same processing for XSLT, where you in the Figaf tool can edit XSLT, run them, test them, and I think this just makes it a lot easier for you to handle these scenarios. This tool is really good for novice users or beginners that do not have are not creating a lot of Groovy development, is working on some of these scenarios, but do want some more help from time to time, making it easier. For pro users, the people that are creating a lot of Groovy scripts, we also do have an option that would allow you to help. So we do have all of this in a Git repository that makes it a lot easier for you to manage this. And here you can use unit test, you can use a lot of different techniques for it. So let me show you what this looks like. So one of the things we need to do is we have a test case here already created. So we can look at here the test case that we have been calculating. We have here update the Groovy script added to a Git repository. And this is a function that would allow us to take all of this artifacts and put it into a Git repository. So let me open my IntelliJ here. So right now we can see under here we do not have this new iFlow in, and if we select pull, we should hopefully get it as a new one here. So we can see we have a new Groovy development here. It is not as a part of a function, but we can go here in this. So we can see here we added this one, and we can go here. It's actually already included new user Groovy updated. I think it's just updated correctly. So the idea is that we go here, we press synchronize, and then it will fetch all of the different data, and it will create some different Gradle projects. These Gradle projects would allow us to automatically upload the content back into CPI. So if we are going back and forth, we can use these Gradle functionalities. So the CPI plugin here that allow it to upload and download the content between these two things. It does require that you use for different scenarios, you need to have access, and for cloud. Okay, so the idea is here we go to our Groovy point, we do add some checkpoints in this. And then we have the test data here. So here we can see we have the test done. We have the data that we're using for this. And once we go here, we can run this in debug mode. And then we'll see the content that we have at this point in time. I think we should be able to select so we can see the XML nodes. We can So right now we have completed the step. We can see the body that is being set here. I guess this is the previous body. We have the JSON builder. We can see all the content that's relevant for this. And if we go over this again, we can now see that the body message body is being updated to the JSON. So just want to show it is really easy to run and debug this, and yeah, once you get it up and running, it is pretty easy to work with this, and you have the plugins that allow you to up and download the content really smoothly. So let's just continue, I think, with all we have. I do hope you want to try this out. There's a free trial of the Figaf tool. Just go to figaf.com, sign up for our cloud or the on-premise and run it on your B2B, on your laptop. See how this works. Try to create some test cases. And yeah, once you have installed the tool, there's a lot of scenarios for you to get started. Setting up a DevOps process in place to handle all of these different things. And obviously, the editor is just one thing of the full suite that allow you to manage this integration. I hope you like this video. Please hit like, please share it with the team members that you think they could use a better way of managing their Groovy scripts, etc. So I hope you liked it. Thank you.